Kent Peters Money Talk here with another video. And this video should air like December 23rd. So it's almost New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve should be tomorrow if you're watching this video. So last week I talked about advice you would give yourself 10 years ago. So this time I'm just going to talk about advice I would give myself 20 years ago. Is there any advice you would give yourself 20 years ago? And don't worry, I'm not going to do one for 30 years. This is going to be the last one for 20 years. So where was I 20 years ago? Still in school. I was in high school. I was so over high school at that point. I was ready to move on, go to college, date college girls. That's what I wanted. But I was still in high school. I remember being that age, so many dreams, what my life was going to be like. I had all pictures in my head. When I graduate, I was going to go to college. Hopefully find a girlfriend while I was in college. She become my wife. I get a better paying job. I get married. Have kids. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have that dream when probably not everybody wants to get married and have kids. Some people are just happy being single the rest of their life, but I actually want to get married, have a kid, get a nice paying job, pays a lot of money. That's what I was thinking 20 years ago. I had no idea what my life was going to be like 20 years in the future. But I know what I wanted it to be like. So I did one 10 years ago, and last week. Financially, 10 years ago, I actually wasn't that bad. So I figured, we could do better. Why not go 20 years ago? So 20 years ago, I really wasn't doing that good financially. I mean, I didn't have a lot of bills 20 years ago. The only bill I really had, did I have bills? Oh yeah, I had car insurance. Cause I think I just got my license that year. Yeah, I got my license kind of late. So I just got my license. So I was paying car insurance. I don't remember how much it was either. But that was basically the only bill I had at that time was car insurance. And I did I got my first cell phone. It was this month, 20 years ago, I got my first cell phone. Let me show you what it looked like. So this is what my first cell phone looked like. It was this first cell phone I ever had. I got for Christmas 20 years ago. So that last year of high school, I did have a cell phone. We come a long way since then. Look at this. You couldn't go online with this. Only thing I did with this cell phone was make calls, and I did some testing. I think I had to pay like extra if I wanted testing. So testing was around back then, just wasn't as popular like it is now. There's no taking pictures with this phone at all. And this was the second bill I had. It was like $25 a month. Man, I wish my cell phone bill was that cheap now. $25 a month. Well, of course, I did have to pay if I wanted maybe I wanted voicemail, I had to pay extra if I wanted voicemail. And I had to pay extra if I wanted testing. I think that's how it was. Can't quite remember. I think I had this cell phone for like maybe like I think I was using it for like maybe 2.5 years before I switched over. My mom put me on her plan with this Sprint, and I still had that same number today from Sprint. This phone, no, this was Alltel. So I think those were like the only bills I had: the cell phone and the car insurance. But you're probably wondering, you had it made, Kent. Not quite. Guess how much I was getting paid every week? I mean, like half the time I didn't even make $100. Sometimes I will get lucky. I'll work quite a bit, make over $100. But I was only getting paid like $7.45 an hour. And this was when I was working at Albertson. $7.45. I was doing it part-time because obviously I was in high school. So it wasn't like I was doing horrible financially. Also, when I had the car, my truck, I did have to make like a lot of car repairs when I got it. Because it was like my first vehicle, I didn't really know how to take care of it. So I ended up having to spend a lot of money on repairs. It was a learning experience. Plus, it did have a lot of miles when I got it. I think it was like in the 150K, 160K when I got it. It was originally my dad's truck, but then he gave it to me. I mean, I did enjoy that truck. It was like a S10 pickup truck. I enjoyed having it. One thing I would have told myself, if I could go back 20 years in the past, this is one advice I would have told myself. I would have gave him this advice as a side hustle. I've been like, hey man, I got an idea you can make money. You have a truck. There's something you can do with that truck. You can flip furniture. Yes, that would have been a good way. That would have been a good side hustle. I had the pickup truck. I don't have a truck now, but back then I had a pickup truck. And I was living in my parents' house. I was not paying rent at all. So I could use that space to leave the furniture. If my parents allowed me, of course, if they allowed me. I just didn't think of it back then. And there was no YouTube back in those days. So I would have had to drive around to find furniture. I would have had to pay a certain amount, just like what you saw me do with that. Was it a nice? Yeah, it was a nice thing. You saw me flip it. I could have did something like that. Put them on the truck, take them home, and then flip it. Also, you got like it was like couches. I would have had like clean it up and all that. Maybe do some repairs with the furniture. I didn't do repairs with the last one. I want to see how much I can flip without doing repairs, but I may try to do a repair next time. Next time I get like one of those wood furniture, I might try it. I never done it before. It'll be a learning experience to see how successful or what a failure I am. I mean, this is what YouTube is for. It's a learning thing. You are learning with me and from me, of course. So, man, I could really use that truck to make money. I just didn't think of it back then. Man, if I would have been doing that flipping back then, man, I could have had some money coming in. Another thing I could have did, I probably would not have wanted to hear this. Maybe consider joining the military back then. Because if I would have joined the military back then, stayed in for 20 years, man, I would have been retiring at a young age right now. Unless I wouldn't have stayed longer. But I think I would have just retired at 20 years. I don't really, I was never in the military, but my dad was. From what I hear, There's no rent in the military. So that would have made saving money easier for me if I did join the military. I would have had to pay no rent. I think the food's free. I don't know. I think the food in the military, what do they call it? The mess hall? Yeah, I think the food is free in the military. So I could have had 3 free meals every day, I guess. I don't know what they charge you or not. I mean, if they do charge you to eat in the military, let me know. Because I really don't know. I've never been in the military. Maybe I should bring somebody on my channel that's been in the military and let them interview. I should interview them on this channel one day. You can hear from them. But none of my friends really been in the military. I mean, there was one that was in the military. He was in the Air Force. My dad was in the military. My brother was. Grandfather was also in the military. I think he was in a Korean War. I had no idea he was in a Korean War until like after he passed away. I had no idea. But the military would have been a good advice for me. I probably would not have wanted to hear it. I didn't want anything to do with the military. I'm thinking, I don't want to get my leg blown off. Yeah, I used to see these soldiers with missing legs. Plus, I thought people in the military was mean. Because my dad was mean. And I'm not one of those kids that want to be anything like their dad. Let's put it that way. I was like the opposite. I didn't want to be anything like my dad. I thought he was evil. So there's other things I could have probably did make money with a truck. But flipping furniture, I mean, that could have helped me too. Maybe I wouldn't have needed to join the military if I did that flipping back then. The real question, would I have been able to like post things up? Because Facebook Marketplace wasn't around back then. Well, I probably could have found a way. I mean, we did have the internet back then. I'm not that old. I was on the internet a lot when I was a teenager. So I was part of that internet age growing up. I just didn't have social media when I was a teenager. The closest thing to social media I had was chats, was the chat rooms. That was like my social media. I think as soon as MySpace came around, I like just left my teens by the time MySpace came around. So I miss that social media by like a couple years, I think. I missed having that in high school by like a couple years because I was in college when social media became a thing. Still young enough to enjoy it and use it because I do use Facebook. MySpace no longer around, but Facebook is. I would try, just like I told myself 10 years ago, I would try to do this 20 years ago too. I would try to get my younger self to invest more into assets and less to liabilities. Stay away from the SC. If you don't know what SC stands for, look at my video from last week. You'll figure it out. Because I wasted a lot of money on that. I mean, I had needs. But at the end of the day, it was a waste of money because I still ended up being single. So I was straight out telling my younger self, don't waste your money on that crap. I mean, I could have invested in gold. I could have bought like some metal like gold, silver. Could have invested more into that 20 years ago. Alexa, how much was silver back in 2004?
On December 31st, 2004, silver traded at $6.79 per troy ounce on the foreign exchange.
So $6. Silver was worth $6. I said 2004. I should have said 2003, but I'll go with 2004. Alexa, how much is silver today?
Silver prices are always changing based on global market forces. Visit a reliable financial news site or check the London Bullion Market Association for the most up-to-date silver prices.
Oh, I guess Alessa's not going to tell me, but last time I saw, I think it was like around $30 mark. So yes, it did go up. So I could actually tell my younger self to invest more into assets and less in liabilities. And of course, try to find a better paying job. Hey, I did try to do that. It was actually hard for me to get a better paying job back then. It was just difficult. It was frustrating. But if I couldn't find a better paying job, like I said, flipping would probably help. Who knows? I could have probably ended up making more money flipping furniture than working at Albertson. Yeah, if that happened, man, I probably wouldn't even need it no more. I could have probably just did that, moved out at an even younger age. But of course, just like I told my 2013-year-old self, I would tell my 2003 self, slow down a little bit, Kent. Save up some money, enough to put down a house. You don't want to rent out these apartments because they rip you off. They change the rent every year. I'll tell my younger self that. I'll tell them that rent change every year, but the mortgage is pretty much stays the same. So imagine my younger self would listen to me. Of course, there is that property tax, but I'll leave that one. I'll leave that out. I won't even mention it. I don't even understand it yet. Maybe in the future, when I have more knowledge on the property tax, I'll get into it. But not right now. So I wasn't doing too bad. I was on the verge of graduating high school. I was so over high school. I was just ready to get in college. Graduate from college, get a nice paying job. That was gonna be my thing. But things don't always work out. So I would actually give my younger self some advice. Those kind of advices. Military would have been an option. Because, like I said, I could have built up some. I could have saved up a lot of money in the military because I would have had less expenses. And I would have had more income coming in. Especially if I was retired right now, at my current age, then I would have had that military check coming out. I think it's every month. I'm not quite sure how it works. I would have had a retirement check coming in. And this is where I'm going to have to end the video because sometimes my phone acts crazy. Sometimes it don't let me do a video if it's too long. And I was also messing around just hoping it works. But with that being said, have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you. Bye for now.